All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Segment Podcast. Man, fresh off of Sedona, and holy cow, I haven't even washed my bike yet because I love that red dirt that's on there. I think I'll cry when I watch that bike. Had such a good time. So many people. That Sedona Mountain Bike Fest, if you guys and girls haven't had a chance to go, that is such an amazing experience. Everywhere you go, it's beautiful to look. All the trails are so much fun. YouTubers everywhere, mountain bikers everywhere, pro riders. I mean, people of all levels, people that are just starting. In fact, ran into our guests tonight while we were getting ready to do Highline. Saw Mr. Rich Drew and his squad pulling up to the base of Highline. And he had a really cool group that he was with. So cannot wait for him to share that story. Before we get into it, want to say what's up to some of the folks in the audience. What's up, Air Blair? We see you. Welcome back to SoCal. We missed you guys. Sart. I know, Blair. We got to get on that Sart ride for sure. Subliminal messages as always. What's up, my brothers and sisters? Octodad, Marty Richards, dude, all the way from New Zealand. What time is it in New Zealand? It is so good to see you on the show. Always love it. Alpha MTB, I see you. What's up? What's up? Alpha MTB says, hiding at work just to listen to the Segment Podcast. All right, man, we'll try not to be too loud, but stoked that you're watching from work. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tim, what's going on, buddy? What's going on, everyone? Tim Haley says, and oh, look at this. Crisco bike, but where was Dusty Betty? Bro, I never saw Dusty Betty. I couldn't get the selfie. However, for the folks that didn't see the Instagram live, I was cruising around the festival with my phone. I was going live, and Ace, Mr. Crisco Bike, says, if this really is alive, can you have somebody rub their belly? And if you didn't get a chance to take a look at that live, that part was hilarious. I was really uncomfortable. And yeah, we had some people rubbing their bellies there. That was really fun. Debbie Keogh, producer Debbie Keogh, what's up, all? Good to see you. And you are also at work. Holy cow. I love that everyone's at work while we're doing this. All right. Folks, without further ado, I do want to go ahead and get the guests on the show out here. They're doing a phenomenal job in the mountain bike community. They have a ride series in which these two gentlemen are helping mountain bikers get better at their skills, whether it's jumping, rolls, drops, techniques, whatever it is. These guys are out there really teaching it up, and I'm so excited to have them on the show tonight. Without further ado, Mr. Rich and Rob Drew. What's up, boys?
Hey, buddy. Hey, everybody.
What's happening?
Rich and Rob, good to see you guys. So you guys are driving down to Southern California. You're pulled over to a Starbucks in Palm Springs. I love it.
Yes, we are. And Crisco bike, I love it. $4.99 with the super chat right there. Well done, dude.
Thank you, Crisco.
And I have something for Crisco bike. Dusty Betty, also known as Tess, is a ride series graduate. So both her and her husband have come through the ride series.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
Sorry you missed
rad
them.
people.
Very cool. So Ace really wanted to have a selfie. So if you have them, if you know them, if they could give a shout out to Crisco Bike, that would fulfill his checklist. He had a checklist of things.
His Instagram?
Yeah, Crisco Bike is his Instagram. Or you can send it to me and I'll send it over to him as well.
Okay.
But
yeah, dude, we're going to be up there over Thanksgiving, so we'll hook up with them.
We'll ride with them.
We'll get a
shout out.
Yeah. Dude, there you go, Ace. See, that super chat was seen and that request was heard. So, boys, like this show really dives into you guys as mountain bikers. And for the folks who follow you and are fans of you, how did this whole thing start? And then we could also plug in which brother is more talented.
Ooh,
that's a difficult question because we have pretty different skill sets.
Let's wait. We're going to build that one up and we'll answer it towards the end of the hour. How's that?
The suspense, I love it.
I'll give you the quick backstory. So we both grew up in Southern California in the San Fernando Valley. Rob, I know he looks much older, but he's only 7 years older than me. And when I was 5, he was already racing BMX at a pretty high level. So that's when I started racing BMX. we transitioned into riding motocross, as most young BMX riders do in Southern California.
Yeah.
And so he raced motocross at a pretty high level. I was a decent amateur rider, but we always rode mountain bikes. And then, life kind of got in the way. We moved to Phoenix, and I went to high school and college there. Long story short, Rob got into it, started riding at South Mountain in Phoenix, and he had an extra bike, and he sent it out to me. And so this was late 2013. So at the beginning of 2014, I went to the bike shop, and I saw a flyer for a cross-country race and just figured, man, I got to do this. And I went and did it. I raced Cat 2 instead of Cat 3, got destroyed. And then, to keep a long story not quite as long, about 6 months later, I did my first pro cross-country race and got seventh out of 50. And that's when everybody started asking, dude, how is this possible? Like, you just started riding. And I told them, no, I've been riding my whole life. I'm good at riding. I just didn't have the fitness. So that was the genesis of the ride series. And Rob has a similar story. I'll let him tell that.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a professional motocross career that ended in injury. And when I turned 40, I was a little heavy, looking for something to do to stay in shape. And somebody suggested the mountain bike. So I got a bike, started riding it, and it kind of came to me really nicely. Like they say, you never forget riding a bike. And in 2015, I decided to go check out the Big Mountain Enduro because Rich and I had talked about competing in that series the following year. And I was able to win a Masters championship in 2015, back it up with another one in 2016. And suddenly, we were both mountain bikers.
Wow. You guys started a little bit later than like the traditional mountain bikers, but you had some of the skill sets to bring into the sport.
We had a lot. Yeah, we had a lot. I think the background really helped. BMX, motocross, and we'd ridden mountain bikes quite a bit. We just never thought about racing. So Enduro, and I rode pro cross country for 3 years, but Enduro was more what I was. So 2016, I won the Southern Enduro Tour. So it was a great year for me. I won every race. And Rob signed a deal with Factory Pivot in 2017. And then I signed for 18 and 19. So for 18 and 19, we were both Factory Pivot riders racing together, and it was pretty awesome.
That was awesome. Now, as brothers, were you guys traveling to the same events together? So were you able to feed off of each other and help each other with the races, or were you in different events within the races, or how did that work?
We sometimes rode different classes. Sometimes we'd ride pro together. Sometimes I'd ride pro, he'd ride masters. And then later in our careers, we both rode masters. But yeah, I can tell you, I definitely fed off of him for wisdom during the race because I'd get a little bit up here. So yeah, it was fun, especially when we rode in 2019. We raced the Big Mountain Enduro Series together. And, the plan was to battle for a championship. And we were doing that 3 races in. We were neck and neck. And talk about a great segue. This guy decided to crash and actually break his neck. And so that kind of, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, 2019 was a rough year for me. But thankfully, I was able to recover.
Yeah, thank goodness. Thank goodness. A lot of people cross that bridge and it's a different outcome for others. What happened that day? Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, I was doing, we just come back from Winter Park and I'd been riding the Mach 5.5. I was on 27.5 wheels and I went out to do a training ride with one of my other teammates and I jumped on my Switchblade, which is a 29er. And about 15 minutes in, I went to do double up off some embedded rocks. And my timing was kind of figured for the smaller bike. And so I caught all the rock when I didn't intend to. And I was going like 30 miles an hour and it just sent me straight over the bars. I remember passing the critical angle of attack, knowing that it was going to end badly and then waking up on the ground.
Wow. Did you know right when you woke up on the ground that something was wrong, or?
Well, I broke my neck, my back, my collarbone, and my arm. And so I knew my arm and my collarbone were broke and I had a lot of pain, but I got up and walked about 3 miles to get out of where we were.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize till I got to the hospital and they did a CT scan how bad it was. And then they admitted me into the hospital and it was pretty touch and go at that point.
Wow. Damn, Rob. you walked 3 miles out with a broken back and neck. Jeez,
Yeah,
Louise.
five vertebrae on my back and one in my neck.
Holy cow. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're recovered.
Yeah.
But how was the bike? Not teasing, not
Literally
teasing.
not a scratch on the
The
bike.
bike was
Not a
fine.
scratch.
The bike was good. Damn. So, Drew, were you with Rob when
I
this
was
happened, or was this?
No, this was a training ride. So I moved to Bentonville, Arkansas in 2018. And so Rob still lives in Phoenix. So we raced at Winter Park, had a
Went our
great race,
separate ways.
went our separate ways, and that happened on a training ride on Monday.
I got it. I gotcha. Wow.
So no,
Yeah.
I mean I didn't get to be there, and it was tough for me because the next race was in Telluride, and talk about feeding off of your brother being there. I was spun out.
Yeah, there was a lot of negative energy coming his way.
I was
when
so
that happened.
The race started, and I almost didn't race. Like I literally
Wow.
I had pre-ride, and I just thought I shouldn't do this, and I was going up the lift, and I couldn't help it. I just started crying, and
Oh, man.
I actually pulled my phone out and got on Instagram, and I just kind of tried to talk myself through it, figuring maybe if I can get some of it out, I'll feel better. And it's really weird. I went up and I just said, I got to do what I'm here to do. And it was a very odd first run, and I just wasn't feeling right. And I came down after that stage, and I was kind of sitting there thinking, should I go? Because it's a big pedal out. And Brandon Ontiveros, the director of BME, came walking up to me, shaking his head. And he's like, dude, you just smashed that stage. Like, you won by however many seconds. And I don't know, it was like a light switch. Just from there, thought, nah, it's the time. Let's go do it. That's what Rob would want.
Wow. That's incredible. So when you were not feeling it, was it the feeling that your brother isn't there? You weren't sure what his recovery was going to be like? Is that what was pulling your?
Yeah, it was a lot of things. I mean, I haven't hidden the fact that I'm a pretty emotional guy. And for me, it was just tough because we were doing it together.
We had intended to do it together in 2016. And so our paths just diverged, and we were both doing big things on the bike, but it was not till 2019 that we were going to do the whole series. We were going to race each other, and we prepared long and hard, and we had high hopes for that season, and I just ruined everything.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was difficult, but I dealt with it, and we came into the final round in Aspen, and I had no idea, but him and his wife actually drove up and surprised us.
I showed up
at our house
in my turtle shell.
Yeah,
Oh,
he came out.
my
He had the turtle shell on, and so I came out of the house and he was there. So that was pretty amazing to have him there. My parents were there. Everybody was there for the final round. I was battling for a championship, so it was awesome.
That is a great way to go into that stage. Now, did they show up? Did you show up before the race or after the race?
Before the race. So we showed up at the house. We were also at the time. We had a program we'd initiated called the YARD program, which is an acronym for Young Aspiring Rider Development. And we had a couple of kids with us and their families. And so everybody was staying in a big house. And my wife and I showed up at that house, and everybody was still getting their stuff out of the car. And so they made an excuse telling Rich he had to come out and get something. And I was out front.
Yeah, it was
so
great.
I surprised them.
Of course, everybody was recording it, and I just came out. I had no idea. So it was pretty amazing.
Dude, what a great story. And obviously awesome. the recovery was good. And how did that race end up for you that next day?
It was a great race. I had a blast, but I hit something on one of the stages and blew up a rear wheel and broke a derailleur. Oh. And so just like that, it was over. But honestly, I would not have won. The guy who won the championship, his name's Mike West. The guy's a legend, amazing rider, and he had me covered. I won a couple stages, but he had me covered. We did the big stage down Aspen, and I think it took me almost 16 minutes on that stage, and he put almost a minute on me in that stage. That's how good this guy is.
Wow, that's fast.
But
Jeez.
I mean, I had a great season. I won big at Big Sky. Big Sky was a big 2-day race that nobody had been, and I had the race of my life, and I won that race. So I kind of hung my hat on that for the year, but I had so much fun. It was
That-
great. Except for him
that's-
crashing, it was amazing.
Yeah, what a year, man. That was like right there on the verge of the whole COVID thing too, and things getting all blown up. But wow, what a crazy story. What a crazy story. What a great way to end the season, having your brother there.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
That's
Yeah, and it was so great because I've raced with Big Mountain several seasons. I'm a multi-time champion with them, and so they were aware of my injuries, and there was a lot of concern. And so when I showed up, it was just, even though I wasn't able to race and stuff, it was so fantastic to get the support from everybody, and that was really helpful in my recovery as well.
Wow, that's awesome. That must have felt good to be around that energy, which
did.
was, oh, that's great. Oh, that's awesome. A couple folks here in the audience that just listening to that story, you said, we had a question here from Octo Daddy says, how many master racers are there at American Enduros?
So when I was racing regularly in 15, 16, 17, there would always be at least 40 guys, sometimes over 50 competitors in that division. So there's, I mean, if you go to your local trails and you look around, there's a lot of over 40 riders. A lot of people come to it later in life, and so you know, some of those people who have been high level athletes or competitors earlier in their life, you know, they can light that candle again in enduro racing. And so you make some amazing friends and you have a lot of fun, and that division was always very competitive and very fun.
That's, man, over 40. That's great. That makes it very competitive in a fun way.
Oh, yeah.
Scouts out here was listening to your story just now, Robin Drew. He says, man, that's brutal. Totally.
Yeah.
Crisco Bike is saying, but the singing voice is okay.
Oh, you're probably picking that up in the background. I'm sorry. There's like a street festival going on. I hope it's bearable. I'm sorry, everybody.
No, I thought he was referring to one of you guys might sing on the old YouTube there or something every now and again.
Oh, nice.
Not yet. I guess if it gets bad enough, I'll start singing.
My broadcast voice is intact.
Yeah. There we go. We got Trail Dogs are in the house. They said howdy.
What's up, Trail Dogs?
Another big group here. The Bomber Crew MTB says what up?
What's up, Bomber Crew?
What's happening, Bomber Crew?
These guys are veterans who started this group, and they just had a group ride last Sunday. Over 100 people showed up for the Veterans Day ride.
That's awesome.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, that's a good group. That's a group that we like to work with when we get the opportunity.
Yeah. Speaking of, might as well. That's a great segue. So, you guys were racing 2019, and then you got the inspiration for the ride series. Rob, it sounded like you were working with some kids also in 2019, and now you guys are out there traveling. And tell us what you guys are doing out there now. This ride series.
Yeah, it started in 2015, and we've steadily grown it over the years. And it's a little bit more unique, I think, as a program, because basically you're looking at it in the 5+ years that we've been doing it. We haven't scaled it because essentially the product is he and I, and the experiences that we just talked to you about. So our take on it is, when you come to one of our clinics, everything that we talk to you about, we have extensive experience. So that is a very important element of it, is the ability to, I think, ride at a high level, but then also convey the why and the how, bring in physics and gravity. Yeah. And we've done well. You know, it's a program that we pour our heart and souls into, and, you know, we're in a pretty big growth phase right now. And it's fun. It's fun to do. It's something that's needed, especially now with the growth of the community. And again, our program, we got a big giant trailer, and we go and we bring all the implements out. And so we set up in a big grass field, and we try to provide an environment for people that's free of impediments that helps them build confidence.
That is awesome. And Trail Dogs here is saying, longtime subscriber to the channel, guys. Your YouTube channel is inspiration and super informative. Your how-to drive video was game-changing for me.
I love that.
A lot of controversy around that video.
Ton of controversy.
That series of videos, I should say.
Yeah.
Really? So, tell us, what did they say?
You know, it was funny because when I made it, and again, let me preface with, I don't call myself a YouTuber. I'm not completely invested in YouTube because teaching is our main business. That's what we do. But thankfully, we have the platform that we can make the YouTube videos. But I made the video, and the gist of it was get down to the ground. Like, get the bike down quickly. And everybody ripped me apart and talked about, GMBN says you have to manual, and so-and-so says you have to load and hop. And I disagreed. And I said, I don't do that. So you can do whatever you want. There was a lot of controversy around it. And that was my introduction to how literally you can be taken on YouTube and how much vitriol can be contained in the comment section.
Yeah, that comment section can be pretty toxic.
Oh, yes. Hey,
Nick,
look at this guy. What's up, Nick?
Hey,
yeah.
We're going to see you this weekend.
Speaking of Nick, thank you, Nick, for the connection.
Yes. I said, Nick, hook this up. So, yeah.
That Nick is all right. I don't care what you say about him.
Nick's a rat. So, yeah, the program, it's been growing a lot. It's Rob and I. We have an intern named Caleb. One of my best friends named Andy comes out and helps us coach periodically. But we're kind of at a crossroads now where we're going to need to bring in people that can at some point take over for us, because Bentonville's a very unique place. And I was asked to show somebody and his family around, and his name was Ken Loosberg. You probably don't know Ken's name, but you know the company he's the CEO of. It's called SRAM. I took Ken around. We had a great time, and Ken asked if we could come out and do clinics for their North American offices. And so we did that. One of the people that went through was a man named Bill True. Bill's client at SRAM is Trek. Long story short, Bill said Trek needs this. And so essentially SRAM funded 3 days of clinics for a Trek store in Tennessee. And so we recently did that. It was amazing. And so now we're in this area where we're not quite sure what's going to happen next. There's a lot of talk, but we're getting ready to grow a little bit more, and it's exciting.
We're about to have a growth spurt, we're hoping.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. It sounds like it's all set up, ready to take off for that next chapter for you guys.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how quickly we can do it, because again, the product is us, and I don't know a way to clone us yet. So what we have to do is we're working on that technology. We have to find somebody that's a good writer and that can also convey the message. So that's the piece that's very difficult. Is we talked about all those experiences that we've had. It's hard to find somebody that has those experiences but can also speak very well.
Right. Yeah, that could be a dilemma for sure, because especially when it's something you guys have been working for since 2015, you need the right person in place.
Oh yeah.
So definitely. Nick is also saying, Rich, you all right too, even though you ride a man pink bike.
Nick knows it's Coral Dune.
It's so pink.
It's Coral Dune.
So pink. Okay, so since 2019 didn't finish the way you guys wanted it, it still finished off great. You guys were ultimately going to compete against each other at the end. Who do you think would have? How close are you guys in the times?
Let me answer this. We're very close, and I have a very good answer for this.
Okay.
I will go faster. I'll go faster for the most part. He technically is a superior rider to me. I have no problem saying that.
Wow, good answer. Rob,
when it comes to all-out speed racing,
Raw
he had
speed.
me covered. He had me covered. I'll admit that. If there was a contest for technical proficiency, I think I could edge him out.
Yes.
But I would give him the nod on who's the better rider between the two of us.
I love it. I think that's why you guys make such a great ride series clinic, because you're getting the best of the both worlds combined when you're teaching these folks how to ride.
It's definitely a very good compliment with he and I. He's much more technical, has much more of an engineering mindset, and so he brings that. I'm a little bit more entertaining, and I think that's my gift.
Yeah. Alpha MTB says, definitely see the need for what you guys do. Lots of new riders getting out there and usually only have a vet rider friend to follow. Gets kind of dicey.
Yeah, it certainly can be.
Yeah. So what we found and what we've heard talking to some of the industry people is, COVID created a boom in people buying bikes and getting into riding, but there hasn't really been a way that when you buy your bike at the bike store, you get any skills included with it. And so many of those riders might have a terrible experience their first time out because it is inherently dangerous. And so our objective is to try to give those people some skills and some confidence so that they can go out and improve their riding experience safely and become cyclists, become people who will buy another bike and buy more parts and contribute to this community that we all love.
Yeah, well said. I feel like that's a well said thing. I mean, when I first got a bike, I'm a COVID rider. I started in April of 2020, and I had no idea where to go. And they pointed me to Greer Ranch, and I got up there, and I was like,
a lot of
I
jumps,
don't think,
Greer.
yeah, right. There's like a lot of, I didn't know what to do. So I found myself on Double D, just trying to figure it out. But had I had lessons before I went out there, it would have changed the game and the progression right off the bat.
Oh yeah.
Some skin would have saved some skin.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Trail Dogs is asking a question. So I'm a little late. Is your clinic coming out to California? Good question.
We're
Trail
here.
Dog.
We're here.
We're in California.
This weekend we'll be in Murrieta. It's Copper Canyon Park. There are still some spots open on Saturday, not Sunday. Sunday's sold out, but if you go to the RideSeriesMTB.com, you can see that. And so we usually close the events on Thursdays, but we've kept it open until Friday, till tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, if you go to the RideSeriesMTB.com or just Google the Ride Series, it'll pop up. And yes, there are still spots open for Saturday. So we would love to have some people come out.
Excellent. And for those of you who are in the area, the Copper Canyon Park is off of Clinton Keith. You basically exit the 15, head west on Clinton Keith. This park has a ton of big grassy areas, which are going to be extremely important for what these guys are teaching.
Yeah, we're using a softball field. We got the whole outfield of the softball field. So
that's
we're going to
awesome.
be using all that. Yeah.
That's awesome. There's actually local knowledge here. There's actually at the softball field, if you go up towards the tables, there's a tiny little single track that just runs down, and there's a jump that you can jump over the sidewalk into the grass field. So there's like there's like a little build jump there for you guys to have as well.
Jump demo.
Sunday, we're going to be using that big grass field that's on the east side.
Nice.
So Saturday, somebody's using that, so we can't use it, but we'll get there Sunday.
Got it. That's going to be great. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
Trail Dog says, awesome. Hope to see you there.
I love it. Come on.
Yeah. Trail Dogs has got a big group, and maybe Aaron or Isaiah, if this one of you guys, maybe you can blast it out. Because how many spots do you guys have left for Saturday?
I'd have to look at the numbers. Sunday's full. Sunday's the jump session. That filled up pretty quickly. But Saturday we have a 201 and a 301. And I think there are a decent amount of spots still open for both of those.
Okay. So check it out at the RideSeriesMTB.com. And for the folks that are on here now, Trail Dog, if you wouldn't mind just blasting that out to the community and see if we could fill these slots, because
that'd be awesome.
It sounds like with the Bentonville thing, we don't know the next time we'll have an opportunity to take advantage of your wisdom here locally.
Yeah, we travel all over. I mean, we do a lot of events in Phoenix. We did a big Midwest swing, so we went Indianapolis, Chicago, Wisconsin, Minnesota. So next year we'll be traveling quite a bit more, and I'm assuming that we'll be back in Southern California, but we're still working through some behind the scenes logistics, but we should be able to make it happen.
Awesome. Another big mountain bike group here in Southern California is called Transcend Mtb.
I know it.
Yes, one of their
I know it. I'm on
is
Transcend. Yeah, Nick's like, dude, you got to get on Transcend.
Yeah.
I dig it. I love. It seems like a really rad community, and I love all of the conversation starters that people put up. Like there was one recently about strength training off the bike. I'm really big about that, so I dig that stuff. I like that people are looking at things off the bike to help them be better on the bike.
Yeah, make that experience on the bike worth it. Holy cow, we got another super chat here coming in from Trail Monster.
Nice. Thanks, Trail Monster.
Heck yeah, Trail Monster.
Trail Monster says, hi, Mark, Rich, and Rob. You guys going to be at next Sedona Fest? Absolutely. The one this past weekend was great. That's right. Trail Monster was there.
Yeah, we will definitely be there. That's one that's always on our list because it's close to Rob.
Close to me, and I have a bunch of friends that live up there.
Yeah, it's just easy.
Yeah, we love that place.
Yeah, the so old Crisco bike. The plan right now is to do a couple weeks in Florida at the beginning of February, then come to Phoenix, do another event in Phoenix at the end of February, and then go up to the Mountain Bike Fest. Boise is tentatively scheduled next year, Crisco bike.
We want to get up there and ride.
Oh,
And
it's selfish, yeah. And Boise's on the list. It's probably going to be late summer, like early fall. That's where it's slotted in right now. But we should know, I would say, in another 3 weeks, we'll have a much better idea. We have some things going on behind the scenes that we're trying to work through. And once we get those all sorted out, we'll have a better idea.
Nice. That'll be great. Looks like Transcend's going to throw it on the page for you guys and get them spots filled.
Oh, thank you so much. That's awesome.
Thank you, Transcend. I think that's representative of 4,000 different riders right there. And then Trail Dogs.
They got a big group.
Yeah, they sure do. They sure do.
Another thing too, I think that would be great too, that we're trying to do is part of it. You know, we talked a little bit about this backstage, but trying to find ways to give back a little bit more to the community. And I know there's a huge vet population in the Southern California area. It's all over the country, but that's something that we have been pretty passionate about. So the hope is that we can build a presence in the Southern California area. And then as we move forward, find ways to help give back to the trail system, to some of those local groups, because when we're there, if we have multiple weekends booked, we're going to stay in between. And that gives us a great opportunity to work with the local community.
I love it. Bomber Crew, if you're listening to this could be great for your guys' group as well. I'm throwing up a picture right now from Instagram. This is Rich and Rob working with first responders and veterans. Tell us a little bit about the focus here.
So this was the Sheepdog Impact Assistance Group. And so one of our sponsors, my wife and I, is Junk Brands. So Junk Brands is based in Bentonville, and Sheepdog has a big presence just south of Bentonville. So they actually were able to connect us. And it was something that was pretty transformative, because I really can't imagine what these people have been through. You know, the trauma that they're dealing with on a daily basis. I won't even pretend to understand what it's like, but to see what being on the bike does to them and for them, it's just a very powerful thing. So for us to have a platform to play any role in that it's important. It's something that we want to do.
That's so great that you guys are doing that and giving back. And it's true. I mean, I had the Bomber Crew on here, and one of their big things is just helping people fight PTSD, depression, anxiety, and getting on the bike just has a way to bring you into the present moment.
It's an amazing distraction because it consumes all your senses when you're doing it well.
Yeah. And the stoke and the camaraderie that you get. So man, love that you guys are doing that. And then as far as on Highline, when you guys were at Highline,
yes,
what was the group that you had out there? Tell us a little bit about that. And I think I got those.
Yeah, you can pull up that picture too. That was the Minority Mountain Bikers. So my man Harry Hill heads up that group, and this is a rad story. So that's still the Sheepdog. It's the one next to that. So Harry, he made a comment on a YouTube video, and my wife and I talked a little bit about diversity, and there they are.
There they go.
Yeah. So if you can you get the second picture? The second picture is really important. So that post had two, right there. So let me tell you what, dude, I sat at that dinner table with those dudes for about 3 hours, and that was some real talk. That was some real talk right there. And, you know, Harry sent a message on a YouTube video and said, look, dude, your platform, it's an opportunity to show some real diversity. And he and I engaged each other, and he said, look, man, I got about 8 guys that I ride with in DC. And I said, look, I'd love to have you come out. So come out, we'll do a day's worth of skills clinics with you. And then I'll take the next couple of days showing you all over. And he said, sweet, let's do it. And then about 2 weeks later, he calls me and says, dude, we got a problem. It's now 30 people. And I said, dude, that is not a problem. That's an opportunity. So 30 black men came into Bentonville, Arkansas, from all over the country and a lot of them didn't even know each other. It's just word spread that we were going to do this event, and everybody was welcome. And dude, it was incredible. I mean, we had an amazing time. I'd never done a clinic for 30 people. And we were in the middle of Arkansas at this place called the Kohler Mountain Bike Preserve, kind of the crown jewel of Bentonville. And, you know, people are walking by. It's a very heavily area, and it's predominantly white people. And they all came through and they saw us working with all these black men. And a lot of them stopped, thankfully, and asked the question that should be asked. They said, what's happening here? Like, this is amazing. And so it was a very powerful weekend. We had some decent conversation, and we said, we want to keep doing it. Let's do more. And so the Sedona Mountain Bike Festival was a pretty easy thing to do.
Wow, that is very cool. Now, were these men mountain bikers already, or was it a mixture?
Well, most of them were, but what they're doing is they're trying to get more people of color on bikes. And one of the things that was talked about at this dinner table was you don't see a lot of black people riding bikes. It's just not prevalent in that community. These guys love it. Like, they've been all over the place to ride.
They get the same joy as you and I get out of it. And so the idea is if more people of color can see themselves in the people they see, they might decide to try it. And then they'll experience the joy that we experience every time we ride the bike.
That's cool. Man, that is so cool.
Rad. Yeah, they're rad dudes. And so our goal with Sedona was simple. It was just get out and ride. Like, what you saw was exactly what we're after. You and all your boys seeing our group together and saying, wow, dude, that's cool. Like, right now, you see a group of people that are people of color that are different than he and I, and that's unique. We just hope we can get to a spot where it's not like just people riding bikes, man. The bike doesn't know any different.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. The bike just knows there's a pilot up there.
That pilot needs some skill. You know, that's why they got to all come to the ride series.
Yeah,
but
the joy of riding a bike has no prejudice.
Yes.
It's there for everybody, and we want to make sure they all get a chance to share it.
That is rad that you guys did that. And that's the squad that you guys had on Highline that day.
Oh, yeah, dude. Some of them were tested, bro. Some of them were tested. They all wanted to do it, though.
Nice. Did you get them on some of those those extra credit lines out there, too?
Not all of them. A couple of them were. Like, it's a pretty big disparity in skill level with the riders, but they're all super athletic and they're just all into it. So we were able to do a lot with them at the clinic that we did in Bentonville. Mm-hmm. And so this April, we're shooting to do another event like that. And we're looking to double the number and actually bring in a group of women as well. So we're going to try to go really big with this one.
That's cool, boys.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm just looking at Tony RO69. His response there was, yes, Rich, Drew, you're doing God's work. Kudos to you, sir. As a minority mountain biker, I salute you and have even more respect for you. That's cool.
I tell you what, it's, just Rob and I have talked about it a lot. We talked about it on the drive out here. To have an opportunity to do it, it's a blessing, man. It's something that the kind of the way we were brought up, if you can do something, if it's in your power, you do it. And it's simple. What we're doing is simple. It's not a big deal. And hopefully it motivates other people to play their role, because I don't think we're the ones to spearhead this movement. We just want to help.
As a couple of older white guys, we're unlikely advocates, but we have an opportunity and we want to share.
Yeah.
The bike's been amazing for both of us, especially late in life, and everybody needs to experience it.
Yeah,
totally. I love it. Thankfully for COVID, for riders like me being a COVID rider, I probably would have missed out had this whole thing not happened. And
it'd be great if COVID never happened, but this is definitely the additional people to experience bikes is definitely an upside, a silver lining. We just need to make sure that they get the right experience and they get the best experience.
Yeah.
And it is a gateway to what there is out there to experience on the bike.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. You already got the bomber crew right here, the military guys saying, yes, absolutely. Let's link up.
Shoot us a message either on Instagram or you can even email info@therideseriesmtb.com. But yeah, definitely send us a message, because anything that we can do, we want to do it. And we're getting to be in a position where we can get a little bit more support, and that makes it that much easier to do. And we can have a bigger impact.
Love it. I love it. Transcend saying, boom, that's awesome. Come to a group ride. We go big. Raffle off a spot at a clinic, maybe.
Yeah,
would be awesome.
hit me up. Send me a message. Let's figure it out. I'd love to make it happen. We got to link my wife in. She runs the businesses, so she's the boss, but she's usually pretty good when I say I want to do those things.
That's great. MTB Ragin's on the line. What's up, Craig? He says, awesomeness, awesomeness to all that.
MTB Raging.
Crisco is saying it's a well-known concern in the outdoor experience industry that minorities don't tend toward outdoor activities. He's saying,
yeah, that was part of the conversation at that dinner table. It was very enlightening, and I think it's a conversation that needs to continue, and it needs to go deeper. And what I said at that dinner table was, I don't know how to solve this issue, and I know there's a socioeconomic impact. There's a barrier of entry because mountain biking is a very expensive sport. But I know that simply showing more diversity and inclusion is a start. And so I think together collectively at the ground level, we can do that. Like you, everybody listening, we can do that. We can foster the diversity and the inclusion. And I think that'll speak to some of those companies at the top that can then affect some more change.
Yeah, it'd be like the old Head and Shoulders commercial, and they told two friends, and they told two friends, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you guys are already making a dent in it. I mean, going from a small number to all of a sudden 30, and then the next one's going to be even bigger.
Yeah,
and it's out there on your platform.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. They're a rad group of dudes. We had a blast.
Octodad is saying, I'm encouraging my Fijian friends into MTB. I lend them my hardcore hardtail until they fall in love with MTB.
I don't even know what a hardcore hardtail is. I don't even get that.
Marty, you're hardcore if you're riding them.
Marty, you are hardcore, dude. I applaud you.
That's right. Yeah, Marty, what time is it in New Zealand right now? Let us know. I'm always curious when I see you pop on here what time it is down that way. Boys, we had a couple questions that came in for you on the Instagram. I was wondering if we could get over into what that was. And one of them was about dropper seats. And the question was, how do you get older riders who are not used to having a dropper seat into a dropper seat, and why even do they need a dropper seat? I mean, a lot of us feel like we know why, but
so what I like to tell participants who come through the clinics is with the dropper, the default position for most people is seat up. You need the default position to be seat down. So you want the seat always down unless you're in a circumstance where you need to efficiently pedal for a lengthy period of time. Because when it's down, you optimize your maneuverability on the bike and your ability to separate from the bike, to lean it into corners, to move forward and back, and the seat's not going to hinder that movement. And so if you can make a habit of just always having it down instead of always having it up, you're going to have a better outcome.
Very well said. Very well said. And then as far as terrain goes, like, are you saying seat down pretty much any time that you're riding?
Well, if you don't need to effectively pedal efficiently, like a long sustained XC ride or a climb, if you can be riding with the saddle down, you're going to be better off. Because anytime you get off the saddle, you transfer your weight down to your feet, and a low center of gravity is always going to give a better benefit.
Yeah.
Also, if your weight is on the seat, any terrain you hit is going to come through the seat and move your body weight out of your control, and you want to always prevent that.
Yeah, I think an easy way to look at it is if you're out of the saddle, drop the seat.
Yeah.
Got it. There you go. That question came from one of the writers who I guess was trying to help some of the folks who are into the non-dropper seats and maybe the older demographic where they're used to just having that thing there.
Yeah, that question referenced somebody who was over 80.
Gotcha. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, he was an older rider, which is rad. I love hearing that he's over 80 and charging it.
Yeah, that's
Mountain
huge.
biking is incredibly affordable.
Right. MTBr says,
the price.
Please don't say mountain biking is expensive out loud. My girlfriend is listening.
Isn't it great that we can get our bikes at Walmart?
It's way cheaper than a therapist.
Yeah. Cheaper than a therapist for sure.
Yeah, like a antidepressant daily.
Another question that came in says, Roger has started writing. Roger has just started writing again and isn't used to his dropper. Okay, that was a dropper post one.
Yep.
The next one is from Outdoor Climates Journal. They were asking, when are you guys coming to ride Bass Lake?
Where's that?
Bass Lake is up above Fresno, up close to Yosemite.
Okay, so next year. So we'll be doing, we'll be going to the SRAM office in San Luis Obispo.
Ooh.
So from there, we'll head out and hit all those
Yeah,
things.
we'll do a little NorCal swing.
Yeah, we're gonna do a NorCal swing, and we'll get all this out soon. My hope is that we'll have some help getting all this out very soon.
That would, yeah.
Profile outlets sharing the plan.
Yeah.
That would be very cool. There's a lot of people that want to follow and know what you guys are doing.
And that's our biggest thing is the exposure of the event and people understanding. And it's, this one was a prime example of, I saw on Transcend, Nick posted it, and there was some people that had a little bit of pushback on price, which I completely understand. And that's a tough issue to tackle because it's not an apples to apples comparison. And it's hard for me to say that. I don't think I'm the one to say that, but we have a decent pedigree as a rider, and there's no other program that does what we are doing. So
until
it's
you
very
experience
different.
the show that we bring to town, you definitely can't measure the value, but the value is there.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, BKXC. He was Brian was in Bentonville. We made a couple of videos together in Bentonville. He's a cool dude. His now wife is a better rider than him, though.
I just saw today, actually, Brian started following the channel here. So I don't know if you're listening, BKXC, but you're, yes, from what we understand, your wife is a better rider.
Yeah, what's funny is, dude, he sent me a message a while ago, just out of the blue, on one of my bike reviews. And he said, hey, man, your stuff could be really good, but you're a horrible YouTuber. And I said, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. I said, I at some point I'll get there.
You will. You are. You already are. Boys, when it comes to what you're doing now, what is the main thing? Like when you have an audience like this, I'm just looking down the chats on people that are on, and we have like a smattering of skill sets from COVID riders like me up to guys that are racing against the pros.
Yeah.
What's the main thing that you speak to when it comes to jumping on that bike and being safe and having fun?
Can I take this one?
You can.
Okay, so what we have found is that when we work with mixed groups, with advanced riders and low time riders, all of us, as we began riding, were usually in such a hurry to become good riders, we glossed over the fundamental things that would help us be better riders throughout the rest of our riding life. And so when we get people who are new, they're a blank slate. And so we can give them those fundamentals and they become much more successful. And oftentimes the more advanced riders who may have developed bad habits struggle the most with unprogramming and changing some of the fundamental things they do to become more quickly better riders. So some of the more basic things you'd be shocked to find are the most important things that we can convey.
And I think some of the people that we've had the biggest impact on could be the highest level riders that we've ever seen. There's a lot of people that are very proficient and they can go fast, but technically there's a lot of issues. And it's incredible because you make a couple of small changes, it completely changes who you are as a rider and basically allows them to step into a new room to then start progressing. And it's simple. Basically, if you've been riding for a long time and you're not getting better, there's a problem.
Yeah, you hear people talk about plateaus. That's because they're doing something fundamentally wrong. And everything we do is based around physics and gravity. And if you're doing something that tries to defy either of those, you're going to lose.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we get across to people, and we do this at every clinic. Our opinion only matters so much. If our opinion counters what physics and gravity says, guess what? Our opinion's wrong.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. What are some of the things that are like the most common errors that you see when a rider comes to the class?
Riding too far back on the bike.
Yeah, hip body position. Everybody gets too far back. Everybody's default when they get nervous is to go back, which makes sense because as a human being, that's your fight or flight response. But it's one of the worst things you can do on the bike.
And on top of that, there are some organizations that will teach you to get back on the bike, which puts you in a risky position. So.
Wow. Meaning like for downhill approaches or just how you...
Yeah, you want to keep your weight centralized over the bike because that's how the bike was designed to deal with your weight. You're a key component, and your mass can be a tremendous asset or an enormous liability if you don't manage it effectively.
I'll give you a prime example, dude. If you hung out at those rock rolls on Highline, that's the worst place to see it, dude.
You can see it all day.
Everybody rolls off those things, and they're already in the back seat.
Wow.
If you're already back, you can't go back when you need to. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's what we see is a lot of people, they come in and they go back immediately. Wait until you have to.
They give up that move, and then it's not there for them when they need it.
God.
I mean, there's no better evidence than Friday Fails, dude. Just watch Friday Fails and the amount of people that are jerked over the bars by their arms stretched out because they're trying to ride their bike from the back seat. Doesn't work.
Yeah. I've seen people when they get tossed that way, and it's like a catapult. They're like loaded back there, and there's nowhere for
loading the slingshot is what we call it.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. Thank God we didn't have any of those. But no, those are things that. So I don't want you guys to give away all the tips and things, but
dude, we'll give it all away. Like we put everything on social media. This is what it comes down to, dude. Until you're there in our setting with us, we'd bet everything we have, you're not going to get an experience close to it. And that's fine. Like, people have asked, what are you using? What are you doing? I'm an open book. Like, I'll literally give somebody my setup and tell them, go for it. Like, go for it. And if you can do what we're doing, if you can give the experience we give, man, we'd love to hire you.
Yeah. We can help you. Whoever it is, we can help you. But if you can't get to us, we want you to benefit from what we've worked so hard to create, because we want you to have a good experience on the bike. That's the goal.
Yeah, no, I love that, you guys. I love that. Crisco Bike is actually saying here that, like you said, Nika teaches kids to stay as far back as possible.
So we're gonna plead the fifth on that one. There's a lot of people out there saying a lot of different things, and there's a lot of different things you can do. What we come back to is we have a lot of experience, and everything that we speak about in the clinic, we have experience on. So for example, if somebody said, hey dude, how would I ride Rampage? I'll tell them, I don't know. I've never done it, and I never desire to do it. And I think that's an important thing. And NICA's unique. NICA has a lot of,
it's a great program.
It's a great program
for a lot of
kids.
It's
a lot of people volunteering. It's a lot of volunteers that they're just trying to help their kids out. So I think we're working towards something that will help remedy that moving forward. But again, I think a key part of this is we didn't come into this as, let's create this as a business and try to grow it as a business. We came into it, we fell into it because we're passionate about it, and people asked for help.
Yeah, we were, to the people in our communities, we seemingly rose to the top very quickly because they didn't know our history and our pedigree. And so in both of our communities, people were asking us, hey, how do you get good? How do you do this? And how do you do that? And so we talked about the fact that we were each experiencing this simultaneously. And we decided there's probably a need for something like the Ride Series. And then it kind of developed over time.
I love it. Nick Mila is saying, it's like great food. Someone can tell you how good it is, but you don't really know it until you taste it.
Yeah, Nick's a smart man.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was, when it comes to the drops, we were talking about that drop video that you made, and I watched your drop video, and I've seen other people's, and there's all these different ways, but for whatever reason, I haven't been to the clinic, but it makes complete sense to me to push down and get that wheel down as quick as possible.
Yeah, we agree.
Anything that would prolong your arrival at the ground under control off a drop is not going to be in your best interest.
Now, we don't factor fun into that equation. Like if you're a good rider and you want to blast off something and catch a downside that's 20, 30 feet out, that's a little bit different.
Yeah, if you want to do a 360 off a 10-foot drop, right on. But that's not the game I'm playing.
Yeah, yeah, we got to practice a lot of that on the highline descent. On the backside, there was a lot of different little rock sections that,
Oh yeah.
didn't seem deep enough for our bottom bracket to hit, but short enough to where we can push that front wheel down and get it down. And then when they were deeper, where the bottom bracket could hit, it felt like the more speed you had, the better chance you had of getting that front wheel down faster because it's just,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising in a lot of those circumstances, you need momentum. It's your friend, because if you stick a wheel and you don't have a good command of your mass,
Yeah.
you can find yourself flying over the handlebars real easily.
Well, Trail Monster, hey, thumbs up on that $10.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks, Trail
Yeah.
Monster.
Mount Lemon. He bombs down Mount Lemon.
Mount Lemon
You
is
can't-
legit.
You can't be in the back seat at Mount Lemon. Not going to work.
Wow.
You're going to end up in the hospital.
Mount Lemon is legit. One of the most underrated trails, the full lemon drop. I love that one. I got to hit it at least twice a year.
Mark, check this out, dude. I'm getting a sound block here for I'm trying to protect our mic so we're not listening to the local band here.
It's okay. It actually doesn't sound that it's
Awesome.
not that intrusive on the mic.
Well, dude, I mean, we got the windsock on there, dude. We're trying to do it right, man.
There you go.
We
That's
know
awesome.
bad audio is not acceptable.
No, it sounds fine. You guys are doing great. Trail Monster, thank you so much for that 10. By the way, everything that comes in here is going to go to the boys there for their gas tank while they're coming down to San Diego. So and pay for those coffees that they have sitting on the table there.
Dude, I'll tell you what, you got to give me some insight on how to get all these super chats. We don't get many when we do ours. Every time they pop up, I go, oh, I forgot
Super
about
chat.
that. Hey,
Yeah.
woo.
Yeah, people are giving you guys money. They love it. They love what you guys are doing.
So rad.
They support you guys, which is great. Oh, as far as any other tips go, like some of the big ones, maybe we can cover just a few more. We're almost at an hour, but we'd love to just get maybe a fundamental on cornering and then maybe a fundamental on jumping. And that should cover the vastness of the skill set we see here.
I'm going to let you take cornering.
Okay. One of the most critical things on cornering is pedal position. If you look at a description of a tire, what it's going to describe is the center knobs are the rolling knobs and the side knobs are the turning knobs. The tire casing is round. And so to get those turning knobs into the ground to work on your behalf, you got to lean the bike over. You lean the bike over, you need to be able to counter that lean by shifting your hip weight to the outside of the corner. And if you rotate the pedals so that the outside pedal's down, when you place your weight on that pedal, it's literally right on top of the contact patch of the tires. And so that's the most effective way to create grip and stability in a corner.
Interesting. So I'm taking a right-hand corner.
Right hand
left
corner,
pedal.
left foot up on the inside.
No.
Left hand corner.
You said right hand.
Left. Oh, you said right hand?
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
so
sorry,
but
right-hand
outside,
corner.
basically outside foot down, inside foot
Outside foot
up
down.
is what you're saying?
Correct.
Inside foot up, always. So for another reason, let's come in a slippery corner with level pedals and the bike starts to wash out. What are you going to do?
That stick my
Take that
foot out.
Put your inside foot down. Well, when you take that foot off the pedal, your outside foot is going to violently find its way to the bottom, and that's going to
Right.
upset the handling on the bike. So if you're not crashing already, you probably just did. So what we recommend is you set that pedal position as you enter the corner, and that way, if the bike does start to drift, you've already got that inside foot light and free to go down quickly. And when you do make that transition to put the foot down, your pedal position is not going to change. You're not going to upset the handling of the bike.
That is awesome. That is great. That is great advice. Now, people say front tire, rear tire, in the middle of the bike. Where should your weight be?
In the middle of the bike.
Middle of the bike, centrally. But it's very important, especially when you're turning, to have some weight on the front wheel. We refer to the front wheel as the wheel of influence. It doesn't have any influence if there isn't any weight on it.
Got it.
So if you look from the side, and it's a simple thing to do, and you'll see people now, you'll watch this, they get in the back, their hips start to shoot back, and they steer the bike through. You don't want to steer. Steering is turning angle. You want to lean the bike. And so what I tell people is, you almost can't be too far forward. In the thousands of people that we've worked with, very few have ever been too far forward when it comes to turning.
Got it.
And there is a trick. You know how you know when you're too far forward?
How
You're
do you
picking
know?
grass out of your teeth.
That's a trick that you want to catch on to real quick.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I hear weight towards the center, but also make sure that that front tire, the wheel of influence, has weight on it.
Has weight on it.
Your outside leg is down, and that's putting pressure on the side knobs of the wheels, so that's digging into the dirt. And your inside foot is free there because it's up. It's free to come off in case you drift or what have you, but you have a little more control there. Interesting, interesting. Now, does this technique happen within berms and on like a loose, like non-bermy, let's say it's a flat surface, does change?
A good way to consider it is if you're not leaning the bike. In other words, in a berm, if the bike is perpendicular to the ground going through the corner, then you don't need to do this because you're not even getting onto the turning knobs. You know, the force is going straight down.
Yeah, the berm's compensating.
Yeah.
Got it. That makes sense. Man, thank you, Rob. That's good stuff because there's always that question. No, more on the front. You know, oh, you need to have your pedals neutral position going in and then adjust as you're going through. But when you said if you sketch out, you take your inside foot off, that outside foot is going to go down automatically because you're trying to regain
we
control.
demonstrate that at our clinics. So we really show you how and why.
And there's some nuance to that, Mark. Like you talked about, should you be a robot and come into a turn, drop the outside pedal, and then go through the turn? No, there's nuance to it. So if you can come into the turn and you can be dropping that outside foot down and have it all the way down at the apex of the turn, that would be great.
Yeah, so, there's a timing element to it. Because
there's definitely a timing element.
You can use your body weight as a force multiplier to enhance the gravity's force and create more grip than would otherwise be there in a low grip turn situation.
These are all things that will be covered Saturday in Murrieta at the Ride Series MTB Skills Clinic.
Copper Canyon Park, folks. If you guys are around, Copper Canyon Park. So this is going to then go over to, thank you so much for that wisdom on cornering.
Yes, I do. Scott, get ready.
Scott, here we go.
Scott, sit down. Get yourself comfortable. We're going to talk loopy jumps. So here's the first thing. We're going to talk about a couple things that are facts. They're not opinion. When jump is very short and very lippy, as Scott described, the window of time to deal with the energy that's created is very small. Now, our anecdotal evidence tells us most people come in too fast. So they come in too fast to a jump like that, and their body movement dissipates the energy. So they come up short. And usually their remedy is go faster, bro, just send it. So now they come in faster and the whole thing gets worse. So if you look at the takeoff, whatever it is, if it's a big, long takeoff that gives you a ton of time, or if it's a short takeoff, there's a window there. And so at the Ride Series, we teach it basically two silos. There's the speed element in jumping, and then there's how much energy you create off the takeoff with your body. And so what we aim to do is get riders to create close to 100% of energy, because then they can come in as slow as possible. Is this all making sense? So, yeah, that one right there, this is very important. So jumps, all you're doing is managing energy. That's all a jump is. But the problem is, if you're a newer rider, you haven't had that experience. You need to get that experience managing the energy. So it's really hard to manage something you're not comfortable with. So what we try to tell people to do is slow down. Slow down, because then you open the window of time up that you're dealing with the takeoff. The next thing I think that's important that most people, they don't understand, you can see the front wheel. So most people, they see the front wheel go off and they think the jump is over. The jump's not over until at least the rear wheel comes off. So I'll tell you this right now. Next time you go ride and you're watching people jump, watch their feet. I'll bet you everything I have that the majority of people you're watching, especially if they're newer, their toes will roll down as soon as the front wheel goes off the takeoff. And the reason is your brain is telling you to do that. Mark, your brain doesn't want you jumping a bike, dude. Your brain takes you jumping a bike as you flying through the air on a projectile, and it's not happy. And quite frankly, it shouldn't be. And I think too many people, too many people don't take that into account. Everybody just send it. No, don't just send it. Collect data. And that's the beauty of what we do is we have multiple takeoffs, we have multiple landings, so we can slowly increase the distance as you get more and more comfortable. So in any given event, you could get 25 to sometimes we've had people get 200 reps at jumping, and that's all solid data.
Nice. That's great advice. Scott says yes for sure. Trail Monster with another super chat for you boys. Here we go. Trail Monster says, I'll hook you guys up on the next live stream, Rich and Rob. Hope to see you guys in Tucson, Phoenix, or maybe Sedona. Lemon drop one day? Question
I'll
mark?
have to hit you up for the lemon drop.
Yeah, the lemon drop is legit, dude. I haven't done the whole thing. I've only done some of it.
Randy Suter and get a shovel.
Yeah, it's legit.
That would be awesome. Scott saying, rad, yes for sure. Thank you,
You're
fellas.
very welcome, Scott.
You got it, Scott.
Our pleasure, buddy.
Thanks for
that is
tuning
great.
in.
Now, one of the things that last thing on the jump thing, and I know you guys got to get back on the road. When it comes to getting bucked, everybody's like, they'll be jumping great, they'll feel good, they'll get a buck, and then their progression will just lose some steam, and they may not know what the heck happened. Generally, what does cause somebody to get bucked?
Being too far back.
Yeah.
So what happens is you'll overload the rear, you'll underload the front, and that will cause the rear to react. And some people take that as their rebound was too fast. But what actually happened was they pushed the rear suspension into a much more resistant area, and that energy has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And without sufficient force on the front of the bike to let it do its thing, it drops, the back goes up, and then you're along for the ride. And in regard to those crashes, it's very difficult when you have a crash, and we all have them. What happens then is apprehension, and that's a terrible ingredient when you're on the bike. So what I suggest is you want to try to ride trails that you're very familiar with, so that you can have some little victories for yourself and build your confidence back up. You don't want to, when you're experiencing that apprehension, you don't want to take any undue risk, because that's where you're going to be doing the thing that would cause you to crash again, and you don't want that.
Got it. Well said. Love it. Love it. One more question here as we pull in through the time slot, if it's okay. Crisco's asking, how much do you guys stop and inspect a feature when it's new to you?
A lot, almost always, unless I'm following him or somebody that I trust. There's kind of a Blue Angels code among certain riders that if you're a good rider and we're on a similar level, I trust that you won't lead me into anything that's above my pay grade. But in Bentonville, and actually this comes from a lot of big bike parks, pre-ride, re-ride, and free ride. So yeah, I would tell everybody, stop and look. There's no harm ever in stopping and looking at a feature that you're not comfortable with.
Be safe, don't be sorry.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, man. And on closing, Air Blair out of Laguna Beach is coming with a 499.
You are right. Truer words never spoken right there.
Yeah, and that's us, man. I always yearn to have that opportunity to ride with higher level people. That's why I love spending time with him in Phoenix. Where he rides at South Mountain, I don't have any of that terrain in Bentonville. So when I come here and ride in Phoenix and Sedona, I love that because it allows me to be more engaged and it allows me to become a better rider. I mean,
and being able to improve and see the improvement for me is just so fantastic with the bike. At 50 years old, to be able to be doing something like this and still improving is just very, very fulfilling.
Loving it. Love the bikes. Love everything that it brings to the community. What you guys bring to the community. You guys are so awesome for reaching back and giving back your experiences and helping different types of people get out there and enjoy the bike safely. I love the ride series, what you guys are doing. Tell everybody where they can find you guys if they want to follow you or join one of these clinics.
Yeah, it's rideseriesmtb.com, and we're going to grow a little more next year. We're going to try to be better from a marketing perspective. So we have a schedule out and we give people the opportunity. We'd love to see as many people as we can in person, but those that we can't, I have a YouTube channel called Rich Drew. I'm not a great YouTuber. I'm okay saying that, We're trying to get better, and I'm trying to get Rob more involved.
Yeah,
Because
I have a YouTube channel also, Robert Drew. But I don't
even worry about his. We're just going to
I'll be adding
absorb
to it.
him.
Yeah.
We're going to absorb Rob into the Rich Drew channel and change the name to the Drew Brothers. Instagram is great too. We do a lot of stuff on Instagram. I'm at the Rich Drew. He's at the Rob Drew. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
We're open books, man. You know, ask a question. What I love about Instagram, especially, and even YouTube, is that direct message. Yeah. You know, I try to answer as many as I can because it's not that difficult. Like, I had somebody ask, and hopefully he's watching, so I'll answer this question. He asked me how I'm liking the new YT Izzo. This is T Gilmore 77. Loving, not liking, loving the Izzo. It's rad. And he says he's 6'1". Should he get an XL? I think you should get an XL, without a doubt.
Nice.
So yeah, that sort of thing. We love that stuff. Send it all day long.
That's awesome. Yeah, guys, send it up to these guys. Follow them on their channels and where they will be when they absorb into the one main channel. Thank you so much for everything you guys do for the mountain bike community. Thank you so much
Thanks
for jumping
having
on
us
the
on,
show.
Mark.
For having us, Mark.
We've been excited the whole ride. We're like, where we stop? We got to find a good Starbucks. And now there's a really great deli right down the street that we're going to go eat at and make our way to San Clemente.
Yep.
There we go. And then we'll be at the YT Mill tomorrow. So follow along on the Instagram. We might go live if they allow us to.
Yeah, if you guys are there, if anyone's around the YT Mill tomorrow, you might see the two boys jumping in there.
Come on in.
Before we let you go, what couple words would each of you boys like to share what mountain biking means to you and to this community?
For me, I would just say it's literally been a new lease on life. My moto career ended with a traumatic brain injury, and so for anybody else who's struggling with something like that, it's stressful and it's depressing, and the bike literally is my medicine. You know, I ride the bike as many days a week as I can, and it gives me something that I never thought I would be able to replace when my motocross career ended, and it's been as good or better for me, and I don't see an end to it. So it's a thrill every time.
Wow, love it.
Yeah, it's a similar thing for me. You know, I became a pro mountain bike rider at 38. It just wasn't something I ever expected, but to have the opportunity to just share positivity, to have a platform to try to be as positive and motivating and helpful as possible, it's amazing. You know, it's such a rad community, and to be able to do it with this guy here, you know, we're not young dudes. He's 50, I'm 43. It's awesome. You know, like it's a community, it's an endeavor, it's a sport, it's a lifestyle. It's something that, you know, we had the question earlier. That gentleman was 83 years old, I think. 83 years old. That's riding fantastic. A bike.
I only hope that I'm still doing it then.
Yeah.
That is very cool. That is very cool. Well, boys, thank you so much for all you do. Drive safe coming all the way down here. Look forward to seeing what you guys are going to do for the future.
Dude, if you can make it, come on out.
Please stop
Copper
by
Canyon.
It's close by.
We'll be there yelling, just having fun, jumping bikes.
That'll be awesome. Right by my house. I'm going to try to get there, boys. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for jumping on. And remember, find something you love to do.
Thank you, everybody.
Be passionate about it. Work hard at it, and all your hard work will always pay off. All right, guys. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.